welcome back to another Jazz Drum Q-Tip of the week. My name is Quincy Davis. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you're new, let me know who you are in the comments. I read all the comments. If you are not new and you've watched my videos before, you know what to do. Just give me a quick shout out down below. Like and subscribe, all that stuff. I appreciate all of you who watch my lessons, and I have no doubts that this one too will be informative and helpful. And before we jump into the lesson, I want to make sure you know that today, yes, today is launch day for my new jazz drum set course called Mastering the Swing Feel. I am so happy with the way it's turning out. I've been working on it, trying to get it ready for all of you, and let me tell you, it's come out better than I had ever planned. It's going to be super helpful to many of you. If you know my videos, you know how I like to break things down so that it's really simple to learn and really understand various concepts dealing with the swing feel. So if that interests you and you haven't already gotten it, make sure you get in on that pre-launch discount before the official launch tonight. All right, so this video, everything you've heard about jazz drumming, is it true? Basically, it's about things that we all have heard that jazz drummers do or are supposed to do, but I want to actually talk about whether it's true or false or somewhere in between. So if you guys are ready, if you're really ready for this, then you need to let me know by saying what? By saying what? Let's go! You should always accent 2 and 4 on the ride cymbal. True or false? False. That is false. Now I'm going to accent 2 and 4. Okay, now no accent. And I'll do the same thing at a faster tempo. So first I'll start with the accent. All right. Now no accent. Okay, so hopefully you could notice a difference at the slower tempo. There was just more weight and more forward momentum because of the attention I was giving to the quarter note, which is essential, especially for the slower to medium up tempos. That feeling of that quarter note driving the band. Think about the swing air. That's where we're coming from. That's where we're getting that idea that we need to drive the music forward so that people can dance to it. So certainly not at a slower tempo. At a faster tempo, I could see why people think they need to accent 2 and 4. By the nature of the speed and the idea that we're just playing one stroke with 3 notes, each one of those notes is going to get quieter and quieter. Therefore, it kind of creates a natural accent without us having to accent it deliberately. If I do it too much, now we start to miss the other notes. But if I kind of even them out, you still get a subtle accent, but it's not so stark that it sounds bare. So accents on 2 and 4 on the ride cymbal, false. Good time automatically means good feel. True or false? False. That one's false as well. The reason why it's false is because there are so many records that I've listened to or tracks where the tempo does not stay the same. If you go to the beginning after listening to the whole track, you realize the tempo changed, either slowed down a little bit or sped up. But most of these great recordings, these classic recordings, it feels so good that you barely notice. So that is proof that feel is more important than time. So the moral of the story is it's possible to have really good time, but a bad feel. But it's merely impossible to have a great feel with bad time. And after a certain level of proficiency, It's more the feel that you want to pay attention to rather than just consistent time itself. Because great bands want not just good time, but they want a drummer who has a great feel. So put more attention on your feel, not just your time. Matched grip cannot swing. True or false? False. That one's false as well. All right, so if you guys know my channel, you guys have watched my videos, it's rare that you will see me swinging with using match grip, right? But it doesn't mean it's not possible. In fact, these days you see a lot of drummers using more match grip, and I'm talking about jazz drummers, using match grip over traditional grip, or doing kind of both, a hybrid. I traditionally, no pun intended, teach all my students and I have them switch. If they're more of a match grip player, I have them switch to traditional so they can really get the feel of jazz, right? It's traditionally, again, pun, traditionally it's a jazz grip. All the great jazz drummers, most of them play traditional. So it's good to get the feeling of playing jazz like the masters. However, you do not have to do that in order to swing. You can absolutely swing using matched grip. Expensive cymbals make you sound better. True or false? False. That one's false. That one's false. Now, I will say this. Your chances of finding a really good sounding cymbal that's cheap is slim. However, it's very possible. However, conversely, just because you pay a lot of money for a cymbal does not mean it's going to sound better. Keep that in mind. Do not be fooled. Make sure you really, in fact, I did a video a couple weeks ago about this, about bad demos that are out there. Check that out. I actually did a video a couple weeks ago about bad cymbal demos that are out there. Beware of those, by the way. So expensive cymbals do not necessarily make you sound better. Remember, our sound is in our hands, not in our instrument. Now, if you have a bad sounding cymbal, it's going to be harder to sound good no matter how good you play, because our sound is our sound, and people hear our sound. If you get what I'm saying, no matter how well we play, how does our instrument sound? So keep that in mind. But just because it's expensive doesn't mean that I'm going to automatically sound better because I have an expensive cymbal. More hours equals more progress. True or false? False. That is false. We think that we have to put in so many hours for progress. I actually addressed this in my new practice guide that's available. It just came out last week. I'm really proud of it, which talks about various practice techniques that are really helpful in making our practice more efficient and smarter. And this is one of the things that it talks about. It's not longer hours that produces progress. It's more about the quality, and it's all about the techniques that we use. Practicing is more important than playing. True or false? Which one? True or false? True or false? That is false. That's false. You gotta play. If you have to choose, if you can only do one, choose playing all day, all week, twice on Sunday, because that's where you really learn how to play with people. You understand how to play time with a bass player, right? You learn repertoire. You learn about dynamics. You learn all these things that you can't really recreate in the practice room. We try to. Obviously, you should be doing both. You need to practice. You need to play. But if you have to choose one, play. You need a great teacher to become a great jazz drummer. True or false? That's false. That's false. The reason why it's false, obviously a great teacher really can help you and guide you in the right directions. However, I always say this saying that all the answers are in the recordings. If all I had was the recordings and no teacher, I could just listen to the recordings, and even better, with YouTube, I can actually watch some of the great drummers and just copy what I see. And if you did that, you'd be much better off than if you just had a great teacher and you didn't have the recordings, right? So you don't need a great teacher to become a great jazz drummer, though it helps, not necessary. Okay, you have to live in New York City or New Orleans to become a great jazz musician. True or false? Which one? What do you guys think? That one is false. That one is false. Now, I will say that maybe this question answered 40 years ago would produce a different answer from me. But now with the age of social media and YouTube and so many different ways that we can receive and hear the music from afar, it's not a requirement to live in the hubs of jazz to become a great jazz musician. It's incredible how much you can learn not living in one of these hubs. So that is false. All right, so that is today's lesson. Everything that you've heard about jazz drumming, are they true? Are they false? I guess today everything was pretty much false. Let me know if you want me to continue. I could keep going. There's so many things out there that maybe a lot of people are confused about. So I'm happy to continue with this series and go further. Again, I want to remind you that today is launch day for Mastering the Swing Feel. If that interests you, today's the day to get in on that pre-launch discount before tonight, a few hours away when it officially launches, okay? I think you'll really enjoy it and get a lot out of it, so check it out. But until the next time, you know what to do. Practice hard, but practice smart, all right? Take care. Peace. Bye-bye.